Hello everyone, I'm Black Marvin. I'm a progressive psychedelic trance artist. I'm a professional sound designer and also a teacher for electronic music production. Today, there's a new Vital update and we're going to take a look at my favorite features from that update. Important side note is at the moment where I film this video, the update is only available for pro users and I don't know when it's going to be available for everyone, but eventually it will be. There's a lot of changes. I'm not going to cover all of them, but I'm going to cover my favorite ones. But definitely my favorite one is one I've been waiting for a long time. It's just a vital to remember the folder where it was when I closed the vital window and come back to it. So many times I wanted to cycle through the presets and I was just being brought back to that 808 preset. I don't know if you've ever experienced this or if it was just only in FL Studio or just all across the DAWs. But yeah, this was a way overdue change. So now it's fixed. I have to say I have a lot of vital content coming up, either in terms of presets, tutorials, or additions to the synth. So if you don't want to miss this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. And now let's dive into my favorite Vital update feature. This is it. We are inside the new Vital and let's go straight to my favorite features. There's been a lot of improvements made to make Vital run faster and smoother and just be more effective. I'll put in the description a list of some of the stuff that has been done. But of course, my favorite features are the more noticeable ones. There is some new spectral morph options. First, there is the data compress, and here's how it sounds on a saw wave. And in order to demonstrate these, I'm going to get a wavetable from the Prophecy analog style wavetables. I'm going to get the anomaly saw wavetable. So this sounds like this. Yeah, because it's going to be a bit more noticeable if we work on a wavetable like this, which is a bit more crunchier than a regular saw wavetable, but is not necessarily also a wavetable that is too complex. So it's easy to follow what's going on. So data compress on this one sounds like this. So it's not like a low pass filter, but the way it acts, it sort of degrades the sound when you go from left to right. And at some point it acts like it's removing some information, and we go from something more complex to something a bit more pure or mild. Which can be cool also sometimes, I guess, to tame some, you know, if there's some spectral information that is just too aggressive or very intense, it could be a good tool to tame them down. And there's something, I think it's a bit too pure in my opinion when it's here, but there's, if you look, there's something really cool here in terms of sound again, and it really brings up the possibilities of really glassy sounds in Vital. So just right here. So this is data compress. Another cool addition is in random amp, you have now a seed function, and the way to use it is very simple, and I like when things are simple but complex. So it's like, it's a bit of work smarter but not harder. You go here and you hit that seed option and sort of randomize the process of the random amp, which is, there's a lot of randomization, but it's good to create happy glassy accidents. Moving on to the spectral filter, there's 3 additions, very similar, but again, not the same. Spectral filter, spectral flanger, and spectral phaser. They will source the same pattern in the sense that they can source some LFO's shape. So it's really cool. And so when you go here, you can interact with the spectral filter or the spectral flanger or the spectral phaser, depending on which one you choose. And with the LFO shape available here, you can interact directly with the process, with the spectral filtering process. Just like in a regular filter, if you go more towards to the left, you're going to interact with some low frequencies, and more towards the right, you're going to interact with some high frequencies. So if we just carve a shape like this, you can hear how it sounds if we sweep it through the spectrum. This one has high pass like features, and it really gets interesting when we start carving more into the spectrum. When you're doing this, there's multiple ways to work. You can just like draw some random stuff, but it really gets interesting when you're carving through the shape and you're hearing the filter at the same time. So I'm gonna make just a sweep going from up and down, and we're gonna carve the spectrum while this is going up and down. You can hear that there's some really digital aspects that come up when you're making steep stuff like this. It can be pleasing if you're going for this, and let's just first go for this type of sound, and you'll hear that almost like some digital marbles, phasey-ish features that come up. That's how I would describe it. In this case, very almost like phaser-like characteristics. There's also some experiments I've did with some sort of selective band passing that you can do, and when you're sweeping that filter through the spectrum, it also creates some nice sounds. So let's go with something more tamed and less, phasey, and more selective band pass style. And yeah, you can really hear that the way it affects the sound when I draw, and you have nice visual feedback too. When I just drop this from here to, yeah, actually this is some high frequency content in the wavetable. So we have some direct feedback that when we just drop that, we get something more pure. That's also another way to really work in precision, just sweeping the spectrum and carving the LFO shape at the same time. And this one, although it's not a crazy looking shape, it really sounds good to me, and it's really helpful. I'm sure a lot of people will come up with some crazy shapes, but what I've experimented so far is when you kind of try to push it too far, it really just ends up being these phaser-like characteristics. And sometimes less is more. That's how I would say it. Sometimes less is more, and it opens up a lot of possibilities in terms of spectral filtering. Now let's keep the same shape and compare with these two other ones. So the spectral flanger and the spectral phaser. That was the filter one last time, and then spectral flanger. I like how it sounds right now. It brings up some of the flanger characteristic, but it's not like overly excessive. And now let's get the spectral phaser. Now let's run through a couple of my own shapes. This is cascade. Now same shape with the flanger. Filter. And you can hear that in the flanger and the phaser, there's almost like wind chimes like that. That's what I was describing. Almost like phasey marbles, like wind chime stuff. Let me know if you hear it and you understand what I mean. But it sounds really cool, and just it opens up a lot of possibilities. You can sweep that spectrum, or you can also bring more of a classic envelope to it for more like lasery sounds. And by the way, just that's another really, really cool visual feature. You can just look at this. Sounds so cool. And yeah, there's a lot of new visual stuff that's been brought to Vital, which I like a lot. There's also that little bar here which shows you just more of that modulation action going on. Now a little note here on the effects section that has a new some design improvement, which I like a lot. And if we go into the advanced tab, there's also a new mode here, which is the subharmonic mode. And if we activate it, I'm gonna chill on the flanger for the moment. So it sounds like this. So far, this is the one voice. And now if we bring up 4 voices of the subharmonics stack, it sounds like this. I'm gonna make a video soon on how you can use these stacks to make crazy pads and crazy sounds. But this opens up, again, a lot of new possibilities. And it sounds really cool, the subharmonics. It's just there's so many different stacks. This one adds stacks of harmonics, odd harmonics. There's some chord stuff. Again, we're going to check that in a video soon, so stay tuned. But subharmonics, especially, I can see a lot of potential for pads. Sounds really cool, adding some subharmonics. Also for sidetrends, zaps. Yeah, that's really, really cool features. And that covers up my favorite features of the new 1.5.1 Vital update. And don't forget to check out in the description the full list of changes. And that's it for this video. When I look at the value of a synth, I also look at the updates and the way it keeps being bonified over time. For example, the kilohertz ecosystem, it's awesome, and there's always some new features, some new plugins that interacts with the system. So that's awesome, and that adds to the value over time. Same thing for pigments. Every time there's a major updates, there's some significant new features being added. And for Vital, that's sort of the first update of that style. So I was curious to see where they would take Vital. It's actually Matt title, but where Vital would go, what's the direction? And I'm realizing this as I filmed this video, is that for Serum, that was quite something that lacked. It was more than a game changer when it came out, but it kind of faded over time. And yes, there were some updates, but nothing too crazy. So yeah, now also I think with this update, Vital is sort of starting to distantiate from Serum, which is, it's, without a doubt inspired by it. I've always considered Vital being sort of Serum on steroids, but now I think it's like starting to branch off really into its own direction. So that's really cool to see. In this video, I use some of the Prophecy analog style wavetables. They are available at Fractal Sounds, and as well as Quantum Fold wavetables. There are 2 packs of wavetables that you can use to, maximize the power of Vital and other wavetable compatible synths. The link is in the description. If you need some one-to-one mentoring, some group lessons, you need some help with electronic music production, don't forget to check out my community of students. And until then, I will see you into another Vital related video. Happy producing.